Hello fellow captain, this is Captain Collins. Welcome back to another episode of X4. Today we're going to talk about something difficult. Difficult to talk about and difficult to implement in your game. And this is fleet management. I don't want to talk as fast in this video as I talk in other videos because this is very difficult to manage fleet management. So if you're fighting with a fleet and you're not the captain anymore from one ship, but you're the captain of a few ships. But before we start, as always, a quick introduction to myself. I'm Captain Collins. I'm a Twitch streamer and YouTube content creator. I stream from Monday to Thursday at 7 PM Central European Time at twitch.tv/CaptainCollins. And if you like my space-related content and you like the X4 guide videos, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So that way you can help the channel for free and a lot. And thank you. So let's dive right into the game and have a look at what we're doing right now, because I'm not standing at the console anymore. I am now a fleet commander. What does that mean? I'm most likely standing on the bridge, not controlling the ship anymore, but standing somewhere in the back or maybe on the other consoles, somewhere like here, so that I can see my ship. By the way, this is a rattlesnake with some Argon turrets. We have a proper fleet around here with, at the moment, 5 destroyers, 3 rattlesnakes and 2 Odysseus. And we do have another fleet right here with some corvettes. Right, with some corvettes. I'm always thinking about frigates, but no, they are corvettes. So what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about 3 different things, and this is the first, fleet management while out of system, so fleet management OOS. Second is fleet management in system, fighting against other ships in open space. And the third one is fleet management in system against stations. This is something that I don't really recommend to do out of system because that will be a mess. And I don't recommend that to do while controlling your own ship, but we will talk about that later. So we start with fleet management out of system. For that, I will just teleport to my player HQ so that we can have the fleet where I talked about the corvettes in here out of system.
Grand exchange.
Thank you. So here we are, and as you can see, my fleet already changed their orientation there while we've been on the ship. They didn't move at all, and now they're starting to move. So that's the first point, that ships do not behave the same out of system as they do in system. So if you're there flying them for yourselves. So right now we're talking about this fleet here. This is my Nemesis Vanguard fleet. And what I did is I have them protect a region in this sector. And as you can see, there is already a Xenon flying in. They are attacking this, but not anymore because it got out of the system. So that's one thing you can do. Protecting position. There you go. This is a default behavior. You have some different behaviors there. Like for example, protect position, what I'm doing right here. You can set a radius from 1 to 40 kilometers. Then you can also protect ships. You can protect stations. And that's basically what you can do with combat. I would not recommend patrol. Yeah, you could do that, patrolling between jump gates, for example. That way you do not have the control over these ships, not as far as you would like to. And another thing is police. Police is something that just works when you own that sector. So if you have a sector, like for example, I do have family to cur, then I can do a police command for this sector. It doesn't work anywhere else. And I can show you that. Police area to patrol. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This one does work. I can click OK now here. As you can see here, it's grayed out. Anywhere else it's grayed out. I can just take my own sectors. Now fighting out of sector is a little bit different than fighting in sector, because weapons are basically calculated DPS against DPS and hull against hull and so on. So this is just a numbers game. As you can see right now, they are engaging here. All of them should engage. Exactly. Right now there happens a numbers game. So these guys are flying to that Xenon M with the weapons they have on board. They're doing the DPS to this ship. And this is basically calculated second after second. So as if everyone would shoot the best they can. This was very, very fast. If it would have been in sector, this would have gone a completely different route. They would have engaged that ship from the front, because that's how the pilots behave when you're in sector, right? They're trying to like intercept that ship. But this is not happening when you're out of sector. So this is, for example, one thing that makes it different if you're engaging bigger ships. And you would have an advantage if you are controlling these ships for yourself, because you can then point out different weapons here and there. But you can't really do... Oh my god, that looks cool. But you can't really do that when you're out of sector. So this is, like I said, just a numbers game. And you have to get the higher numbers. As you can see right here, we got one example after the other. So now they are engaging some peace. As you can see, there is no real formation, not really anything like they would fly in sector. They are just getting into the specific area where to shoot. So in the distance, you're calculating damage per second, you're calculating distance, you're calculating your own shield and hull strength. So a few tips there for out of sector fighting: always have the higher strength. So have more strength than other ships, then you're okay. You will always win this. Flee when you have bigger opponents. Second stage of the fleet management. Let's go into the sector again. Fighting other ships in sector. Where are we? There we are. And because we are fighting a lot with these fleet, then I will also go into this Nemesis Vanguard, and we will have a look at what they are doing if we go into the sector.
Entering system. Fires of defeat.
Let's just take a look at the map while we're in sector, and you will see that now, finally, the ships are really pointing at the Xenons, and the damage is done like you would expect from a pulse laser. So this is like going down and not taking chunks of damage, as you can see. And of course, pilots are flying and engaging because they have to face the enemy with their forward-facing weapons. As you can see right here on this Xenon M. They only do damage when they're facing the Xenon. And what you can also see, bigger ships have got a very hard time fighting smaller ships when you're in sector. So if you want to have... Yeah, please. Give me a pause. If you want to have the advantage over a lot of smaller ships, the best thing you can do if you have big ships in this area is just go out of sector, let them do the work, and then come back and just whatever, take the salvage, or I don't know, just move on. Ships that have really good fire potential and they are fast and they're really agile, this is better if you are in sector, because they can have the advantage with flying around these bigger ships and not getting hit as hard as they would be when you're in sector. So let me show you this. They have a hard time fighting these Xenons, right? Let's just go somewhere else. Like, for example, back to the... Oh, you know what? I can now finally go to the Three Families port, and I can just teleport there. Fun fact here, if you watched it by now, you get a pro tip for your gameplay. This is if you acquire a reputation of plus 27 points, then you can teleport to every single station of that faction. Just as a pro tip at the site. So here we are. We got out of sector.
System. Arca's Ravine.
Please let me move. Thank you. We got out of sector, and now let's take a look at the fight where we just left. And they should have a really easy time with these Xenons. I did not even have the time to look at this. Now I can go back to these, and they will start. As you can see, it got smooth the moment we got into the sector. And now they don't have a hard time anymore. It's the opposite way, like I said. If you are, for example, a miner, or let's say a trader, which is harassed by some Xenons, and he has a hard time fighting these Xenons out of sector while you're seeing these on the map. So you teleport to the trader, and the trader will definitely have a better time fighting off these Xenons as they would have out of sector. So you have to experience where does out of sector fighting is better than in sector fighting, and then you strategically take the one that is better for this situation and just go with it. As you just saw with the corvettes that took out these Zeniths in a second, in a blink of an eye. While we're doing all of this, I can also show you some fleet commands. At the moment, I do have one group of ships all underneath one commander for this fleet, and they are all at attack. That means that they are trying to stay together and attack as a group. You have some different roles that are, for example, interception. Interception here means that they will not stick together as a group but charge the enemy at the moment the enemy comes into a range of 30 kilometers. So correct me if I'm wrong, tell me down in the comments, but this is 30 kilometers. They come in range, they start to charge these enemies. This is interception. And defending, of course, is they just start to fight if we got shot. This is the same as for turrets. Defending is just starting to shoot when you get shot yourself. So whatever role you need, you just pick the role that you need in this specific kind of scenario. So for example, I want to have the attack formation right here because I'm defending this jump gate, and I want to have all my ships attacking as a group. If I would have a Raptor, for example, and you have fighter ships on your Raptor, S-class fighters, and you really do not want to have the Raptor getting attacked from a short distance, then you want to have your fighters in a intercept mode that they are charging enemies from 30 kilometers away to defend your Raptor from, for example, smaller ships. And that way you also have the time to undock all these S-class fighters because, as I said, 30 kilometers, and this is a lot of times in X4, enough time to get a lot of fighters out of your hangar. And the third thing we want to talk about here, and I already got this prepared, is fighting a station as a fleet. This is not as easy as fighting ships in open space where you do not have a stationary. You have to play like Warhammer, tabletop Warhammer, like taking all of your pieces one after one, taking your ships really strategically into position. And I recommend you using here a lot of fly to commands. You never ever want to set an attack command on stations. Not if you still have turrets on these stations. I know there are some other strategies to fight against these stations. So as I said, we're using a lot of fly to commands. This is something that formations are really good for at this point of the game. I recommend you basically take a circle. This is one of the early best working ones because your flagship is the front of the formation and you want to have all other ships in a line with you. Not in front of you and not behind you. You want to have all of them in line with you so that they start to shoot at the station the same time as you shoot. But I will tell you some tweaks here that you can adjust this formations really good, and it's working perfectly. As you can see right now, this is an X formation here. We got the X perfectly with 5 ships. So right now we're flying to the station, and I am flying to the station as far as my L-class plasma turrets start to shoot. This is something that you need to keep in mind. If you don't know which turrets to get, then I will link you a video right now at the top right corner. There I talk about what turrets you should get. See the video about turrets, come back, and we will talk about some other stuff with stations right now. So I have Argon L-class plasma turrets, which means that I have almost 9 kilometers range. Xenon stations, they're graviton turrets, having a range of just under 6 kilometers. So that way you have 3 kilometers you can play with. And what we're doing here is, as I said, fly to station, not attack station. And we will wait until these buddies here go out and start to shoot the station. You don't need to be in command.
Greetings.
Actually, you don't have to be in command because otherwise it does not work. And I do have a very much recommendation to get into Reddit and read about this. I will link you the Reddit post. I saw this in the descriptions down below. You can read all the steps that's necessary for this, that you can also attack these stations as I do. And every single moment we should be ready to fire. I think I prepared this pretty good. As you can see, the turrets start to shoot. And this moment, I pause the game. And what I do is I remove all orders. What does that do? Removing all orders lets your ship just stop. So they are not flying anymore. But the turrets still have a behavior which says attack capital ships. And capital ships are, for example, stations. And while you're waiting there and fighting the station, do keep in mind that having all other turrets, all your M-class turrets, all your flag poles, whatever you're using, beam on attack all enemies. This will make sure that your other turrets are fighting other fighters, are fighting drones, fighting whatever comes in their way already when this is in their range. Not have that on defend, because otherwise, if one single ship will not get shot, that one single ship will not shoot back. So you want to have attack all enemies on all of these ships on your smaller turrets. Okay, here we are. Let's have a look at the fleet. I start to shoot. All the others did stop too. What they are now doing is they are going back into the formation. The moment you start to shoot with your ship, the station, you want to remove all orders. And that way, all other ships go into formation, in the X-shaped formation, as I told you before. They will face your way, the station, and they will start to shoot with you. Now we have a problem. You have two ships which are firing pretty good at the station, and you do have two ships which are firing completely not the station. Now it starts with fleet management. We go into the map menu, and now we take every single ship and we will go into the fly to command and fly to the station. As you can see, this one here is moving the moment it starts to shoot. Game pause, take that ship and remove all orders. It will stop moving forward, as you can see. It will also stop shooting at this moment. But don't be afraid. Just give him a few seconds and it will start shooting again. It just stopped for a little bit. So, okay, we take the next one. The Odessa is here. Give them the order to... Whoops. Take it. Give it the order to fly to. As you can see, the one on top, the rattlesnake, starts to shoot. Perfect. Everything's fine. Now we take the Odysseus. We fly as far as it starts to shoot. You are very far. Okay, here we go. The moment it starts to shoot, stop it. Because you really don't want to get into the range of the graviton turrets. Remove all orders. And now we take the next Odysseus Sentinel and fly to. You can take all of the ships at once when you know which are too far away. You can take all of them at once and just pause the game whenever they are aligned really good. And here we are. We're shooting the Xenon station like really, really good. If you really want to take that to another level, take every single ship, but not yours. Remove all orders. All orders are removed, right? And now, this is the time where you could also go to your station. Take the command of your ship. Let me just see if someone moves. You always need to have a lookout for if someone moves. So I want to move my ship into this range. I really want to shoot that thing with my main guns. I think that works. Let's see. Yeah, we're hitting it. And because we moved, I think we have something to adjust here. Yeah, okay. At the moment, everything is pretty good. Nobody's moving. You really want to keep an eye on everyone else, that nobody else is moving. You can now take your main batteries, at least from one ship. The others won't use it. You need to have the attack command for them using the main batteries, but you really, really don't want to have that. But now we can have the additional damage of that forward-facing main batteries, at least from one ship. As you can see, there is really a lot to do. You have to keep in mind every single ship there, and you will stay very far, and you can always shoot more. Whenever they are stopped to shoot the station, the only command that you want to take is fly to. With all these informations, you can now take all of them, combine them together, and you will have a very good fleet management run. You will have less losses. You will have more achievements. You will fight more successfully. And you will definitely have a lot much better time as before, when, for example, you tried to charge into a station, or you wanted to fight a station and you just flew there. Everyone was on attack mode. Your other destroyers charged into that station, got destroyed in a second by these graviton turrets, and finally you can have a really good time just staying here. Everyone else is shooting. If they are not shooting, as I said, for example, this rabbit said, come on, fly to. So as you can see, I mean, this is also some stuff that I just love about this game. I mean, you can do so much. You really want to have long-range L-class plasma turrets for station destroying, and that's why I recommend you using either Organ turrets, which are pretty good, or the Paranid ones, which do have a slightly better range, but a little bit less damage. Enjoy fleet management while we're destroying this station with absolutely less effort you could take. It's amazing. Thank you so much for watching. See you again in my streams or wherever else. I appreciate you all. Thanks. Bye.